Hi there. Today I want to talk about a very interesting person, interesting to say the least. That person being Mr. Mridul Wadwha. I made myself some notes because I'm gonna get to some quotes of him later, and I do not want to misquote him and be called a liar. So, Mr. Wadwha, biological male, are living in Scotland, in the UK, not having a GRC, a so-called gender recognition card. So legally also still a man, and apparently full package down there. This man in 2019 lied himself into a women-only position, that position being manager of the Sterling Rape Crisis Center. What could go wrong? And when that story broke, not really internationally, it was not the scandal it should have been. Well, every sort of criticism towards this man was considered transphobia, even though he's not transsexual, so he's a gender ideologist, not a real trans person. But he calls himself trans, and it's everything. All women's rights organizations that criticized him, all rape victims that criticized him, are apparently all transphobic. And in 2019, after he got that position, he went on for 2 more years until in 2021 for the Scottish Greens. I'll get to them later, they're funny. He tried to run for office via an all-women's shortlist, meaning a tool which was established, like it or not, to fight the long-term effects of sex-based discrimination against the female sex in politics. Like I said, Mr. Wadwha is of male sex, not female sex. Plus, he's legally still a man. So there is no reason whatsoever for him to believe that he could run on such an all-women shortlist. Well, after that failed, he was appointed, yes, you guessed it, CEO of the Edinburgh Rape Crisis Center. Wonderful. A safe space for the female sex being invaded by a person with penis. Just great. Just great. And now I get to some quotes of him because it's almost hilarious if it wasn't so sad. This man insists on mentioning to be trans within the trauma therapy of the rape survivors. And this man calls every questioning whether or not he in the rape crisis center has a penis, a functioning penis, which is a good question for someone working at a rape crisis center. He calls that a biological women's weird obsession with other people's genitalia. Really? That's not a weird obsession. That's a legitimate question in that situation. Then he goes on to call rape survivors, those women who do have a problem with a male in the rape crisis center, in the safe space for women. He calls them bigots, and who should have their, quote, unacceptable beliefs challenged, and unquote, and, quote, ought to reframe their trauma. Really? A rape survivor's trauma in a rape crisis center is supposed bigotry against the penis and not the rape, that is a very interesting approach to that issue. An approach that I cannot share. And the fun fact is, this supposed bigotry he makes part of their trauma therapy. Why? His answer was, quote, "To me, therapy is political." Really? You're pushing your gender ideology agenda onto rape survivors in their trauma therapy in a rape crisis center? Are you mad? I mean, if I didn't know it better, and I don't really know it better, I would say you've actually opened a political re-education camp inside a rape crisis center to push your agenda. It really looks like that to me. This guy is also, like I said, he's a member of the Scottish Greens and tried to get elected into office for them. The Scottish Greens are one of the two parties that oppose the plan, brought into the parliament, well, by the governing party, that would, let me get this right, that would allow rape survivors, that would allow rape survivors to choose the sex rather than gender of the person examining them in the aftermath of an attack. Really? A woman who just got raped, who's supposed to be examined in a hospital for a rape, in the aftermath of a rape, is not allowed to choose to, for example, if I were to feel feminine, not have to be examined by me, by a person with a penis? She cannot choose that because that would be transphobic? No, it's not, because it has nothing to do with trans. I can tell you one thing. If Mr. Wadwha would have gotten his gender recognition card and would be actually transsexual, meaning would have a vagina, no matter if it's artificial or biological, we wouldn't be talking about him. All those women's rights groups that went mad when they heard about him wouldn't have made a fuss about it if he would really be an actual trans woman, a transsexual woman. We would not have that problem. It's as simple as that. That's the point. We really have, to differentiate between transsexual and gender ideology. Those are two different things. And to Mr. Wadwha, I can say, the actual trans community, actual transsexual people who transition to the opposite sex, they fought too long and too hard for every little shred of recognition in our society for you narcissist and your friends to ruin it all by calling yourself trans even though you are not. You are not facing transphobia. You are creating it. And actual trans people are the ones who pay the price for your actions. And that is unforgivable. I'm out.